Welcome back, students. Today I'm going to explain you about SA 230 audit documentation. Previously I have explained you SA 200. Okay, SA 200A. When I was taking the Zoom class, I've already explained it. So the next topic what I have left is SA 230. Okay, here we are learning about audit documentation. Okay, the main purpose of this, okay, preparing an audit documentation for an auditor is to provide a sufficient and appropriate record, okay, of the basis for the auditor's report and evidences. Like, the main scope here is the laws or the regulations may establish an additional documentation requirement. Anything extra, additional, okay, documentation is being required. And what is the main nature or purpose here? Main thing is evidence of auditors basis for auditors report. Okay, they keep the evidence of auditors report, okay, and also evidence that the audit was planned and performed in according with standard of auditing and also other legal and regulation requirements. The main two purpose it is like auditors report and also the evidences, the basis for auditors report and evidences. Okay, the audit documentation, okay, audit documentation implies a record of audit procedure performed, relevant audit evidences obtained, and final conclusion by the auditor. So now, based on this audit documentation, a auditor can draw a final conclusion. Okay, he can suggest or he can prove, okay, what the information or what the data has been provided is right. That can be done only through documentation. Any work that has been done has to be documented. That is the most important or prime work that the auditor has to do. Documentation are the working papers prepared by the auditor for himself and not for the client. Okay, so here whatever the document has been prepared, it is for the auditor, not for the client. This information, the documentation, whatever has been done, it should not be disclosed to the client unless it is required. When the client or any person files a complaint against the auditor about misusing anything, so he can show this documentation as a proof to the client or to the court, saying that he is right because he has proof, he has that audit documentation for the particular situation or for the particular what you say, the case for which the client has applied to the court. The nature of audit documentation should be such that an experienced auditor having no connection with audit should be able to understand the nature, timing, extent, and the results of audit procedure, the audit evidence obtained, conclusions reached on significant manners. Okay, so your main purpose, okay, an experienced auditor having no connection with the audit is nothing but the the person who has a well-known experience. Okay, he should know all the audit procedures. He should be very much well experienced about it. He should know the rules, regulations, how the evidence has to be obtained, how the things has to be concluded, how to draw a particular conclusion, or how to give suggestions. Everything has to be known by the particular experienced auditor. Okay, audit working papers are the properties of the auditor, and at his own willingness he can hand it over to the management or retain with himself. So whatever the audit documentation is prepared by the auditor, okay, the auditor, he has a full authority or full right to retain or keep that audit documentation or those working papers with himself, or he can submit it to the management. There is no rule that okay, you have to submit it to the management once you finish your work. No, he can retain or he can keep that documentation with himself for his further reference also. If the auditor has identified audit evidence that contradicts with the auditor's final conclusion regarding a significant matter, then the auditor should document how the auditor addressed the contradictions in forming the final conclusion. That means, now, if the auditor has found or identified any differences, contradicts means some differences in the final conclusion, okay, what the matter has been drawn. So here what he can do, the auditor, he can document or he can show, saying that how he has come to know about it and what are his suggestions or what are his conclusion, what he says about it. That can be documented based on the given evidences. If it contradicts, if it has a difference between the two opinions, okay, that has been given. That is all about SA 230, okay, that is nothing but audit documentation.